Good morning. My name is Janice Bellucci.
Recording in progress.
I'm California. Today, I'm here to discuss a U.S. Supreme Court decision made in the year 2003 that was a terrible mistake. And here is my speech. The U.S. Supreme Court made a terrible mistake 21 years ago. It is a mistake that has significantly harmed more than 1 million families in the United States of America. Harm that includes both vigilante violence and suicide. The court's terrible mistake was made in March 2003 in the decision Smith versus Doe. In that terrible decision, the court wrongly decided that registration is a regulatory requirement, not punishment. And as a result, new registration laws have been enacted and applied retroactively for more than 20 years. One of those laws is Megan's Law that requires states to post personal information on the public internet about persons required to register, including their home address and photo, even if their offense took place before the internet was created. Smith versus Doe, the court's terrible decision, is based in large part upon a myth. The myth is that people who are required to register reoffend at a rate of up to 80%. The source of this myth was not empirical data. Instead, it did not come from government or academic reports. Instead, the myth came from a marketing statement that was published in Psychology Today magazine. That is outrageous. And to make matters worse, the marketing statement has been retracted by the individual who made it. The court's decision is also based upon a dubious statement made during oral argument. The person who made that statement, then private attorney John Roberts, said that the requirement to register was no more burdensome than applying for membership at Price Club, a discount store. This is the same John Roberts who is currently the Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court. Perhaps at the time that private attorney John Roberts had never applied for membership in Price Club, perhaps at the time attorney John Roberts had no idea that people who are required to register and their families were already experiencing significant harm, such as lack of housing, under or unemployment, and the worst social stigma one could imagine. That is why we are here today, to educate the Chief Justice John Roberts and the remaining 8 justices of the Supreme Court. We are also here to demand that the court admit that Smith versus Doe is a terrible mistake, a mistake that must be fixed now. We remind Chief Justice Roberts and the 8 justices he leads that the court has made terrible mistakes in the past. For example, the court approved separate but equal education in Plessy versus Ferguson, and the court approved internment camps for U.S. citizens of Japanese descent. The court corrected the terrible mistakes they made in those cases. It's time now for the court to correct the terrible mistake it made 21 years ago in Smith versus Doe. Until the court corrects Smith versus Doe, more than 1 million American families will continue to be significantly harmed. Some of them will experience homelessness, many of them will be unemployed, and others will be hunted down by vigilantes and killed. Chief Justice Roberts, it's time to admit you made a mistake. Registration is not the same or even similar to applying for membership at Price Club. Instead, registration is punishment. Chief Justice Roberts, it's time for you to lead this court and overturn Smith versus Doe. And it's time for the court to hear us say, Smith versus Doe must go. Smith versus Doe must go. Smith versus Doe must go. Thank you very much. And to our next speaker, David Garlock.
Hey, everybody. My name is David Garlock. I am a formerly incarcerated individual, and I'm an unlikely advocate in this fight. Since I am somebody who was sexually abused as a child, and I took the life of our abuser, I got into this work after I graduated college, and it really opened my eyes to the registry, to open my eyes to persons forced to register. And that is a term that I use. I hate the term sex offender, because if you use a term sex offender, you're saying this is intrinsically who you are. You will not change, and this is your label for life. So persons forced to register, person who was convicted of a sexual offense. These are humanizing terms that allows individuals to see that they are not the worst mistake that they've done. As a client of Brian Stevenson, I had to challenge and wrestle with myself when I got a job working as a program director of a Christian reentry home that primarily worked with persons forced to register. And I had to challenge myself. How was I going to view these men that I was working with? And this job changed my whole perspective. And that is why I'm in this fight. To see that there's 1 million people on the registry, that a list that's supposed to protect children, but it actually harms children, because we want to look at the children that are potentially being saved, but are we really thinking about the family members and the children of the registrants and what they have to go through, and the bullying that they could potentially go through at school because a classmate found out that they were on their dad or mom was on the registry? And that's what we have to realize. If we want to protect children, we need to abolish the registry. We need to take that money that is being spent on this list that isn't protecting anybody, and we need to use that to have prevention. We need to have education, because that is where the protection of kids is going to come. 95% of sexual offenses that are happening right now are not by people on the registry, and these are by people the person knows. So we have to educate, and that's what's going to help with prevention. So thank you for this. We want Smith versus Doe to go, but I'm always thinking about the title of the conference last year when we were here, and it's teamwork makes a dream work, and that's what we have to do. We have to come together. Anybody who is in this fight, we have to come together and we have to fight together. We can't come in with different affiliations. We all want the same thing. We all want the registry to be abolished. So thank you. And now, Shauna Baldwin.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shauna, and 22 years ago, I was in a situation that by today's standards would mean that I was sexually trafficked. And at the time that I was convicted of it, that's not how they saw it, but I was a teenager who had sex with another teenager while the 31-year-old watched us and gave us alcohol to do so. I have been on the registry now for since 2003. I am now 41 years old. I will tell you the only thing that the registry has ever done is prevent me from moving forward with my family and my children. I'm not advocating for abuse. That's not what any of us up here are doing. In fact, most of us up here have been abused, which is why something was weirdly wired in our brain that made us think that whatever situation we found ourselves in was okay. The laws, I was going to stop doing this, guys. I don't want anyone looking at me like I'm a predator or anyone else that I care about. But there are laws that are changing so fast that my children and your children can get on the registry faster than anything else right now. So I decided, because I do have children and I do want a better world for them, that I want to speak on how this is punishment and how this helps nothing. It is a false sense of security, and it is a list of names that people can just be mad at or go do whatever they want to because all of their information is public. I can't tell you how many times I've been walking somewhere with my kids or whatever, and somebody looks at me and immediately they think they know who I am, and they're going to either beat me up, they're going to do something. I live in fear. I am more afraid of you guys than you guys are of me, and I can guarantee you that. I and everyone else in this world should be able to move past the things that they have done that are not maybe the best parts of their life, but it's called learning. And as humans, we don't learn unless we make mistakes and do the wrong things. And I'm just asking, since you guys haven't done it, please listen to the ones that have and let us explain to you how this is not working. Because if we really don't want any more victims, we will all work together on how we can stop that from happening.
Good morning. Can you hear me? All right. So my name is Danelle, and I am a mama of 2, a grandma of 7, and a great-grandma of 2. And I am a woman forced to register. And I am here today to talk to you about this day, 2003, when a terrible mistake was made. A devastating decision was made with lack of understanding for the damage that would be caused and lack of respect for the spirit and meaning of our Constitution. Smith versus Doe opened a Pandora's box to unleash the proliferation of registry laws that have grown exponentially on the federal and state level like an aggressive cancer. Ever since that day, now we are faced with a system of oppression and persecution that has stripped us of our constitutional civil rights. Long, long after we have paid our debt to society. We are shamed, humiliated, ostracized, prevented from getting jobs, banished from our communities, and left homeless. We and our families are targeted by vigilantes, discriminated against in every way, every day. Thanks to this disastrous decision. According to the law, we are no longer human beings. We have been reduced to being forever referred to by our offense, subject to perpetual punishment. Today, from the steps of the United States Supreme Court, I demand that Smith
All right, guys, can everybody hear me? No, it's coming back now. I apologize for the tech issues. I don't know if it's cell service because we keep on losing it, but Danelle is going to give us the last part of hers, and then I will go ahead and do mine. Also, we have a secondary camera that recorded all this, so the actual first live version, I will try to have posted out this afternoon to see what we said the first time, because everyone knows I'm a very emotional speaker. I get it from the heart, and then it's there, and then it's gone. So I'm going to try to do that again for you, but the recording will be out later this afternoon. So we can act like we're tourists for a second while we're figuring this out.
All right.
Like,
Because my parking is going to be over 11:10.
there's a beautiful Supreme Court, everybody. And the Senate building is down that way. There's the Capitol, for those that haven't been to DC.
Yep.
That's the Library of Congress over there.
Disastrous decision. According to the law, we are no longer human beings. We have been reduced by being forever referred to by our offense and subject to perpetual punishment. Today, from the steps of the United States Supreme Court, I demand that Smith versus Doe be overturned. I demand the abolishment of the registry in every state of our United States. And I demand the restoration of our constitutional civil rights in honor of all those who have suffered under the registry, registrants and family members, and those who have been harmed and killed by vigilantes. I stand here today in honor of you to fight on. We are human. Thank you.
that was the rest of Danelle's speech. And I'm trying to figure out everything that I said. So the good news is we do have a live recording, or a recording that we have from here that I'll post this afternoon. But I spoke about, the collateral consequences of our families and how the punishment just always continues to keep going. Everyone knows that I got in this movement for my children because a punishment and a mistake that I made 20 years ago shouldn't continue to be a life sentence for my family. My kids should not bear the consequences of something that of an action that I took 20 years ago. My kids, if the registry is really designed to protect children, why does it harm children in my family? Why does it prevent me from being the voice of my children in their schools and their education and helping them grow up? Because I'm limited, I'm barred, forcing all those stuff for my wife to pick up the slack, which makes it a one-sided family. Smith versus Doe allowed this to happen to where it can diminish me as a father for the exact same ruling that was supposed to protect my children prevents me from protecting them. So what Smith versus Doe means to me is the end of me being able to be a protector to my children, a father to my children, the way every other person can out there. So every year, we're going to keep on coming back here. Every year, we're going to organize and we're going to speak our stories and speak our voices until Smith versus Doe gets overturned, until they finally correct the court, finally correct that horrible mistake that has put collateral consequences and life sentences, not only on the person, but on their children, on their family, and everybody impacted by them. So we would like to invite everybody to come here next year, right here at the Supreme Court, right here on these steps, to join the brave people that were here with us today to help Smith versus Doe go away. And if Jennifer can open it up, I can answer a few questions that anybody might have, thanks to the bad tech. And please, and I will put because I know that speech was not near as good as my first one, but my adrenaline gets all high, I speak, I get emotional, and then once I get done speaking, I have to go down, my adrenaline has to come down, and I got to calm down and de-stress. So I'll try to get the recording out there tonight.
Give me just a moment.
Okay. Also, if anybody is interested in helping plan next year's event or wants to be part of that planning team, please email info@dcvigil.com, because I'm working on putting a group of volunteers together to plan next year. I want to start it right away. That way, anybody that can't make it, if it has to be a financial issue, let's raise that money. Let's make next year about the people. Let's get the people here, the people that are really fighting for this. So and next year, I swear I'll have this tech stuff figured out, because I don't know. We came here yesterday and spent 2 hours making sure everything was working, audio test, feeds. And for some reason today, it just keeps dropping.
Chris, thank you for what you're doing. I will be there next year.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
That was jolly.
Hey, Jolly.
Thank you for being there.
Go
Unfortunately,
ahead.
I gotta go because I got a meeting. But I will be there next year. I'll email you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks everybody who came to this Zoom meeting.
Thank you, Chris. I'm going to go ahead and send you an email because I want to chip in for next year's trip.
Awesome. Awesome, guys. Awesome.
We will try and get a very simplified website out there. DCVigil.com, or what is it? DCVigil.com?
DCVigil.com.
Yeah. So we will put that out, and we'll keep all the addresses that we've received from people about the Zoom, and then other people will be able to sign up their interest, and we'll move forward for a bigger and better event next year. And so if you have technology background and would be interested, hey Shauna, in joining us in that respect, just put that in there as a message. Everybody say hi to Janice.
Hi, Janice. Hi.
Nice to see you.
Thank you all for your participation and your patience with our technology. We're doing the best we can. This is across the country, and we've reached a lot of people, and we will have a video out there later today through email or maybe up on a web page. I don't know, Chris, are we able to do that? Right
Yeah,
away?
actually, I'll be posting it. All right. Okay. No, Florida's going to post it, and then everyone else can copy us.
Okay, that'd be great.
Okay.
All right, that works perfect. And we're getting lots of comments in. Again, if anybody wants to speak up, feel free. Leave it open for just a few more minutes.
Chris, this is Sarah. I am so grateful for what can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I am so grateful with tears in my eyes for what you guys are doing for all of us. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sarah. You're going to make me cry now.
Get out the tissues.
Right?
So, all right, guys. Well, I'm going to hop off here because we have to do a bunch of jumping and running because we all have to get to airports and get back. But definitely save the date. We will be working on the website to come up with exactly when we want to come back. But I just want to give you all a small visual of what the potential could be. If you look here at the Supreme Court steps, court is in session today, which is why the rail's up. But if you look, you see the post around here? Imagine if we could fill all of that. See, last year we were on the steps, but we couldn't go up on the platform. So imagine if this was all filled, because I noticed this year there's a lot more people engaging in our conversation.
Yeah, last year was great. We even had, it was like today earlier when we were recording, early on, I think before we started, a group came along and there was an opportunity to provide education to them about, the consequences of the registry. And so those
definitely.
opportunities were there last year too. I remember speaking with some college students that were there, and I believe we had around 70 or 80 last year, maybe. And it was very cold. And it will be earlier in March next year, most likely, correct?
Yes. March
Okay.
5th is the anniversary. So
Oh, okay. So it is chilly up there sometimes. It just depends. Early March, but it was great. Anybody else on here there last year?
Yes.
Awesome.
Go ahead, talk.
Oh, yeah, I went there last year. It was a much larger turnout. Yeah, it was cold, but it was a worthwhile trip and event.
From San Diego.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's wonderful. Thank you. So let's get the word out. Let's spread the word to all the people that we interact with within our organizations. And just remember that dcvigil.com, we'll get something up as soon as we can. And you can always email info@dcvigil.com. So I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye for now. And thank you for joining us.